Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to the Vagrant. So we've found out that our sister is not resting in peace and has instead been turned into the Soul Reaper character we fought at the beginning of the game. Our father didn't abandon Vivian, but instead went crazy by the Magus, and our bloodline is cursed, and now she has been cursed. And it is making her obviously more aggressive. Here's a curse. Grar, what is the symbol? And so that shows the dispel ring. So much for the idea that the dispel ring might dispel the Magus's curse. Vessel, offering. That thing must be attached to that damn symbol. My dispel ring, no, it's broken. I can only fight my way out. So we just had a boss fight. It doesn't feel like we're fighting It doesn't feel like we're really fighting a boss here so much. Problem here is I just don't have health. Like, I don't have health potions. Alright. So, all I can do is try and kill this, but it almost feels like I should die, but you can't really do too much else because the place you could have saved was a campfire. There's no rest from here on out. This ends here. I'm done hiding. There's Rune Warden is here. Magus, Hellborn, I'm coming for you both. I think I've been everywhere, so I don't think I need to do too much. We may straight up just see that robed character multiple times and have to fight him multiple times. It's not really a lot to do otherwise, though. Or a lot that you can do. We can look for drops and get some more mana. We're at 651, we pick up that mana, we get 1. So we really are just getting 1 mana each time we see one of these crystals. If we spend a fairly reasonable amount of mana, we can double it to 2 mana. And that might get us to a point where we can actually unlock most of the upgrades in this game, but honestly, I am more of the thought that this game is just going to have a weird New Game Plus element to it. And this is the only place where icicles are, so it's no surprise that you would miss them. I'm doing the spinning attack while in the ice. Game is not particularly as well programmed as it should have been. I would say for a game like this, you just kind of never know. It's kind of fairly easy to say, or speculate at least, that this game could have had twice as much content in it, or they could have planned to have twice as much content in it. And since each room is effectively interconnected with each other room, and they do this in 3D games and most games, there could have been 20 extra rooms in any map, and you can just leave that on the cutting room floor. Although if there was supposed to be twice as much content in this game, it wouldn't have been much, because a ton of these rooms are empty. Ugh, I could really use a break. God, this wound, the one from the Soul Reaper, from my sister. And so now she's all alone. Here, let me heal you, question mark, question mark, question mark speaking. Vivian, thank you. Force of the light, move through me. It's so warm. So, yep. Halfway through the game, I think we're at the point now where it starts to feel like the relationship is just beginning in a good direction between Camden and Vivian. Which, honestly, it should have been much earlier that this idea was pushed, as far as them becoming friendly. It kind of feels like Camden is going to end up helping us or saving the day at the end of the game, but I'm not sure I could ever really learn to like him as a character. If you look in the cup that Camden is drinking, it looks like he's eating some kind of soup or stew out of a mug. There's a piece of meat, it looks like, sticking out of it. Return to the academy. This isn't your battle. I'll walk you to the village, but we will be separating from there. Please let me travel with you. Camden, do you know where I'm going? The Void. You're going to where the dead are sent. So why do you want to go with me? I need to confirm something for myself. I'm done being a child. What, are you going to try and convince Hellborn to come back with you? No, I want to know the truth. I want to see it with my own eyes. You weren't supposed to get involved in this. You might not make it back. Do you know who I'm dealing with? Madame Hollowborn? No, the one whose power she's going after, Magnus. What? The Great Wizard? You only know what the Academy taught you. Let me fill in the blanks. Magnus created runecraft and passed it to the Vermilions, my ancestors. Unknown to them, though, he cursed them as well. Cursed them. There are only 2 deaths for the members of the Vermilion family: death at the hands of the Academy, or madness caused by the curse. Madness. We start to hear things at first, then see things, then our minds are gone. It happens to those who practice runecraft, as well as those who don't. But why? Only Magnus knows, but the curse is supposed to end once we find the truth. That's why you learned runecraft? Right. After reading my father's journal, though, I realized that it's not that simple. So, does she mean after reading a father's journal that wasn't the last father's journal, and that there were multiple journals, and so she read that earlier when she was younger? Or does she mean after reading the journal she just found in this story? Because it kind of feels like there was 2 journals, which would make sense. Very few people live such a short life that they keep all their journaling in one journal. My father, he found the truth, but the curse should be over. No, the truth was much darker. Runecraft makes us vessels for Magnus. He somehow was able to maintain his spiritual form and waited for the perfect vessel so that he could occupy the body and be reborn. Does that mean Madame Holborn is? I don't know if she has anything to do with the Void. Based on Magnus's message, he needs one of my bloodline to enter the Void. It'd be funny if it turned out Holborn was part of the bloodline, but I doubt it's the case. Did Madame Holborn replace you and change your fate? She's after runecraft, but doesn't know about a rune warden's destiny. I hope to see her face when she finds out. ... I would have become the vessel if she wasn't involved in all this? Why is she so set on entering the void? What could she be thinking? Who knows? She seems to know more than she's been letting on. She must be after something far more dangerous than we could be aware of. And I created the portal. That's all I know. This is my business from here on. You've got nothing to do with it. It's funny, they're just kind of recapping a lot that just happened in the game less than 20 minutes ago, which I guess if you were playing the game and then every time you saved you exited out and then you took a day or a week and then came back to the game, you'd need these recaps. But you really can't make a game like that because it just feels like the filler that it is when you're playing a game in bursts, which most people do play games in at least a few hours of bursts. So this just is getting repetitive. Forget everything, get back to the academy, become the healing wizard you deserve to become. You're going to do great things. And I'm going to do one last thing. It's not that simple. One last great thing. I have to witness the truth. You could die. Doesn't matter. I have to know. I have to see the truth. Haha. You brat. I'm taking your advice. I'm thinking for myself. Just don't get in my way. I can't guarantee your safety. Thank you, Miss Vivian. Vivian, call me Vivian. Yes, of course. Thank you, Vivian. We're going to Kalmagra now. Why? There's a secret to the bracelet of Zoe and the method to opening the portal in the void. What about the spell I performed? Won't it work? Don't ever cast that spell again, understand? It was sucking your soul away. You'd be dead if I went on any longer. I know, I remember. Don't think about it anymore. There's a spell to activate the bracelet, and I'm gonna find it. How do you know so much about the bracelet? It was detailed in the book my father left me. Wait, how could Holborn know about the information if... ? I remember now. Now we got a slight picture there and then it just jumped. For all the sales pitch of these stationary painting images, there doesn't seem like there's actually a gallery option unlocked in the game so far. Maybe it will unlock after you beat the game. And in that instance, they just flashed the image for half a second, which has to make me assume that the paintings had something wrong with them, that they weren't willing to let them be on the screen for an infinite amount of time and have me press the A button to move forward. Too much dialogue. It was her. Who was her? Holborn, Witch of Bride. She killed my sister and destroyed my home. Damn, why couldn't I remember that? Why was that blocked in my mind? She murdered my sister. She looted my home. I remember that voice so clearly now. Holborn copied my father's notes. It's no wonder she knows so much about runecraft without truly understanding it. If anything, this really does kind of feel like it's playing off the idea that Vivian is just going crazy and she's making up false memories at this point. Arg. Miss Holborn, she did all that? Don't feel guilty about your associations with her. You didn't know. Only believed what I saw. Let's go. We're off to Kagarai. See, the rifts of the north border have now been unlocked. I do suspect that there's a chance that they're going to try to tell a story of the boy being a potential romantic interest to Vivian, And that's gonna be awkward. It's not an invalid story to tell, certainly, though. It's not completely unnatural for a young boy to have a crush on an older lady, or at least a more physically mature lady. But honestly, if that was the way it was going to go, I would almost expect that Vivian would have liked the boy more, or flirted with the boy more. There definitely is a trope in anime, and I assume that this is a Japanese game, so that's why I'd reference anime, of a auntie flirting with a boy, a younger male. Auntie in that case, not inherently meaning that she is actually the aunt of the boy, but a friend of the family type character. Alright, well, what I want to do here is, let's see, is it worth it to fast travel to any other location? Let's see. At a certain level, it does seem like you could probably travel through the entirety of the world. Let's see. This guy probably still wants more gold. Okay. So if we sold things that were for sale like this, we could get 5,000 gold by selling the silver bottle right now. Getting 5% more on that would not really lose too much. So let's sell these 2 silver bottles. And then let's see if that satisfies this guy. Nope. So 30,000 is not enough. What else can we sell? Silver bracelets. Jade bracelets. Alright, so now we're at 40,000. Let's see if that's enough. It does potentially mean we need to be at somewhere around 100,000. At 50,000. Gold, I smell gold. You've got the look of someone with enough gold to get what you want. And what do you want? You want a truly beautiful artifact. Only 50,000 gold. I wouldn't dare sell to anyone but you. There's definitely something fishy about this merchant. Do I really spend 50,000 gold on something It may just be a piece of junk. Well, I guess we saved, so... yes, the lady knows a deal when she sees it. Wonderful. Wow. So... yeah, for 50,000 that was totally not worth it. So... load. And then, unfortunately, I think that means I'm gonna have to... oh man, I gotta do a lot. I did not save. So, the good news, I'm not going to lose 50,000 gold. The bad news is now I've got to just like button mash through a lot of dialogue and beat this guy. Which beating this guy does not feel very satisfactory at all. It totally makes a lot of sense to focus solely on fighting this guy. Not so much even dodging, although dodging can help. I guess the idea of dodging probably boils down to is it worth it to really run backwards and get a single item? When it does that spinning attack, you probably should dodge in a leftward motion and use the invincibility frames that way. There we go, full health. This is definitely a game that is getting down to the point where it feels like it's asking a lot of your time, and it's hard to justify picking up one more mana, one more gold. Run, jump. If you didn't have the double jump at that point, I think you'd be in real trouble. Alright, so the question is, can we skip this? No. So it's just going to be hit the A button a ton as fast as possible to button mash through all this. And this is, I guess, a great example how a lot of people might play this game, particularly in a second playthrough if you can't skip these. Like, the start button's doing nothing, the map button just brings up the map. B button's not doing anything. Noticeably holding down A and B buttons not doing anything either. So yeah, if there's a new game plus, but you have to go through all this dialogue, that really sucks. See, the way that Hollowborn lady is drawn does not really look too much like the way Hollowborn is drawn in any other times, although that would also be years later, which also implies that Hollowborn as a witch is actually much older than I would have thought. You can definitely see why very little of this why very little of the game actually forces you to fight in these open areas, because they probably, in developing and testing the game, got frustrated with the idea of having to encounter enemies. Alright. Let's start by saving here. Yeah. Fairly high prices for fairly low quality items. I don't know why you'd really buy that. Right. This is a reasonable price, I think. We need a bunch of them. So I'm gonna straight up just spend half my money on health potions, medium health potions. It definitely feels like there's more to this village, or that there would be more to this village, but doesn't seem like that's really the case. A 135 fire weapon in Hungry Demon. I can't really afford it, and it doesn't really seem like it's worth it. I wonder if it's a case where the items, particularly from these shopkeepers, which may not have been in the game originally, I wonder if they might randomize their output as far as what's available for purchase. Off we go, though. Let's move the story forward. And we do know not to spend 50,000 gold, but that does definitely make it feel like at some point we've got a whole new area, not very big, and this is north, so I bet we're going to see more ice. Yeah, things are just so expensive. I don't think, it doesn't feel like it's in any way balanced, particularly when we see that there just aren't that many more enemies in the game. I don't know how there can be potentially only 30 more enemies in the entire game, and yet there are things available for purchase that would likely never actually be able to afford them. Still not really doing enough damage. Still not really getting enough mana. That was wonky. I have to assume these snow particle effects caused some wonkiness there as it loaded in more of the background for the first time. So an interesting little background there And yet we're running into this issue in which the game is running very weirdly. My rage attacks still not really doing things. Not really doing enough for me. Well, do I fall to my death? Or do I take a warning and not go any further? I think we have to fall to our death and see what happens. There is a bottom here. This is an interesting experiment in, I guess, some different visuals, and it was actually hurting me in that area. I'm not sure if that implies there's a toxic gas in that area or what. These monsters don't feel like they really work. Like it just doesn't feel like they're a wolf and a flying ball of souls should be in the same area at the same time. I can't help but wonder if that is the way this is going to eventually boil down to, is that we'll just see a bunch of weird varieties of enemies as they reuse things and repeat. We're definitely seeing repetition. This is another area. We're still not at a point where destroying the, even destroying the little trap characters is one-hit kill type damage. But I guess we could just double check. 4860. If you had an infinite amount of ammo, of mana, not ammo, you would potentially try to upgrade this 48 to see if this black iron would be different than this one. But more than likely what's going to happen is I'm going to need to switch to a whole new thing. And I can't imagine that I'm ever going to want to get away from having an extra max 50 HP. That just feels like that's the default thing. And then it's going to be a long time before I would have 10,000 mana to buy things 5% cheaper, and then another 20,000 to sell things more. Whereas 2,000 to upgrade that is almost certainly the right move. But this is really what we want. We want this one and then this one. By getting this first, this M, now we get double the mana. Ranking up weapons costs 20% less mana, potentially too. So we could save a ton of mana by doing this also later. That just puts us in a very good position. Ideally, I would like to start getting rage when taking damage. Potentially getting some of these attacks to stop costing as much. Criticals I don't really care about. Attack doing more damage would be nice. Getting to the point where you might do 15% more damage if your rage is full might be nice. Or just getting our defense up higher might be nice. But I still definitely feel like we're not really accomplishing as much as we should. So I'm at mana 45 now. I picked that up. I'm at mana 47. I picked that up. I'm 49, 51. So we've just doubled our mana input, which is about the only thing we do in this game is try and get mana. So these rats are dropping 100 mana crystals, which points out that we are now at 600 mana already. So yeah, as soon as you can double your mana input, you should double your mana input. That's a no-brainer. We found a gold key. It's been a while since we've run around with a gold chest. This feels like this would lead to something big, but maybe not. Just a big area to should be dodging more. These long distance attacks still really suck. We're now up to 1,000 mana. Which, yeah, it is potentially going to get to a level where we will unlock a lot of extra stuff. It's funny how it just gets dimmer and darker, and that totally shifts the color palette. We're going to, in a massive burst, upgrade several skills. It definitely seems like we're about to also find another item that would potentially let us unlock something else. I forgot while I was over here, we need to actually equip these potions. So when I pull the trigger, either intentionally or accidentally, I actually do the thing. And see, we now may very well be perfectly situated as far as the weapons we have. Ooh, man. It certainly is tempting. Sure. Increase our attack by 25 points. Yeah, we now have a decent amount of medium potions. And we might as well consider this. $2,000 to increase this, or get to point where we could do this. %15 more damage now when the rage is full. Yeah. And I doubt there's anything else we could upgrade at the moment. But yeah. Trying to get the rage to regen with 2000. And then do extra damage when the rage is full. And then maybe some toughness, but maybe that's not that big of a deal. Noticeably, we are not bothering to regain rage by picking up food. Like going down this path and the food path doesn't really seem like it's worth it. I could get 50 HP back by spending about 4,000 mana and then go even higher to just increase our HP, which there's arguments for that. We could increase our rage, which I'm not sure I really need to do that. It does definitely feel like you kind of need every single one of these things unlocked to get the best benefit of this game. Criticals don't seem like they're really playing much of a role. Attack, attack, attack. Yeah. I think mostly after the rage gimmick, I really am just going to have to focus on attack and defense, because that is the thing. I can definitely feel it. You're hitting X 4 times is killing these rats, where it was felt closer to 6 or 7 times before. Interesting. You cannot attack things when they're downed, even if you crouch down, which really makes the crouching down aspect not useful. Far too booming of a sound effect. Alright. Well, I think we can now run back the way we came. I can only assume that maybe there was a door or barrier that blocked that path. Maybe it didn't. Maybe it really was more just a case that you could go one or the other direction. And yeah, it definitely still feels like you can basically run through a lot of this content if you want to. Yeah, it still very much feels like a good offense is a good defense in this game. So, if I have to pick between increasing attack or defense, I would pick attack. I think attack probably is also going to help you more in boss battles, generally in games anyways, because if a boss battle happens and the boss is attacking you, and doing, say, 90 damage, an extra defense of 10 probably isn't going to save you. Where dodging in this game would potentially save you. And, oops. I guess with any game that does have dodging in it, you potentially don't need any defense at all if you can just avoid getting hit. And that's where you get into like the speedrun concept somewhat too, is that speedrunners will opt away from having any defense because they're just going to be at such a high level of skill that they'll be able to dodge any hits. This is getting irritating. I think what you could probably have implemented with these icicles is a system where if one icicle falls and hits you, it then causes all the other icicles to fall. That way you're not getting hit multiple times in the same area, or other icicles at least somewhat near the original icicle. We are working our way upward, which does make me wonder if we are going to potentially avoid some content or having a lot of rooms. Trampler, I guess, might be worth checking out. A 155 probably is worth it. How much would we need? 2,500 mana is not too far off. So let's get some more mana. That place was in the absolute wrong position. Yeah, let's get some more mana, reduce the cost of mana to upgrade that weapon, and then really start upgrading the weapon. Seems like we are out of the snow area and back into the forest area. Noticeably, there isn't a desert area or a fire lava area that we've seen so far. So I would speculate that those at some point would have been generic areas. It's not crazy to not have a water level, since water levels tend to suck no matter what kind of game it is, but we could have had a more wet, dripping sewer level. Yeah, this is kind of a great place to point out that if this game was supposed to be a joke game about the cleavage, then the bear and the deer and the bats would all have cleavage, like mammal-like breasts on them. Also. Okay. We're gonna have to go higher. Are we finally gonna get a triple jump? We are breaking these things fairly quickly. I don't know if I'm finding something special here, or if Well, I think that gave me a good look at what's up there, so even though it sucked that we got knocked down, I kind of know what I'm going for here. There we go. You gotta get that jumping fairly accurate. So that's probably where you needed to go, and I would have to assume the general idea here is that the game the game probably just wants to make sure you have double jump unlocked and that you've purchased that yet again. Yeah, it still doesn't really seem like it really wants to give you a triple jump. A lot of this area definitely comes off as stuff that could have been in the game at any point. This isn't quite grindy enough to make sense. Thunderheart is now unlocked. Alright, well, with Thunderheart, you can increase all lightning damage. Or we can do this. And then we can't afford that. Let's see, now you run into this problem of would you want the trampler that has 10 more attack versus this hungry demon? And I think the answer is you want the hungry demon. Yeah, and I think we'll just stick with the armor for a while. Yep. So now we have a fire attack item, which maybe would make some sense to try to increase fire damage. Which one would that be? I don't know. Kind of doesn't. All fire elemental damage is increased by this. And then Fury regains rage. And this regains rage more. So we already have elemental damage at its maximum, it seems. Yep. So yeah, I'm hoping that the sword works. By the way, here's a standard animation trick. When you walk to the right, it is her right arm that is holding the sword in the gauntlet. When you walk to the left, it is her left arm. They just flip the image. And that's something that's so easy to miss that that's no surprising. You definitely see there is flame coming out of that sword. So that feels like it's something. We're still not quite at a point where we're at one hit kills though. So I guess if the game does give us a lot of rewards, and I feel like we may have close to 2 golden keys. If the game gives us a lot of rewards and a lot of mana, since mana is now doubled, everything now seems more reasonable. It doesn't feel like that touches upon the gold issue, though. And then let's see. This Ikazuki. Nope. Doesn't seem any better than this one. But since we're at the weapons, enhance that again. Enhance it again. Enhance again. Yep. And the whole runecraft idea at this point, I think, is kind of pointless. It seems like I'll eventually get the ability to enhance things and get more runes through enhancing, and then dispose of things to get those runes back. But that feels almost very late game if that is going to be a thing. There we go. I feel like fire damage is going to potentially play a fairly big role in a boss fight. We've looked everywhere else. And seen everything else. Alright, so as far as consumables, I could probably eat some of these foods to regain some health too, if that was really an issue. Like eating one apple doesn't matter, but arguably it's also wasteful because you just don't need it. We didn't sell anything because I loaded after that point. It does seem like there may be this whole crafting element also that gets introduced in the game, using things like hard leather and pyrite. I do have some things, combo HP gain major, combo attack increase medium. We've got a lot of core items here, so enhance again to its last position. So tier 1 to add minor thunder damage versus potentially combo attack level 2, combo HP recover level 3. Just put that in there. And it's probably not worth enhancing something like this. And is there anything here we could really just dispose of as an experiment? Like this Straying Knight here. Dispose of that, we get 75 mana back. Which maybe we doubled our mana that way. So see, we're at 260, we dispose of that, we get 137, and yeah, that was exactly 137 mana, so we don't double our mana that way. But you can get some mana certainly doing that. Spending 50 mana to enhance this, to see that there's nothing there, then to dispose of it and get 25 mana back is not worth it. And arguably a lot of these low level 1 items may not be worth it either. Defense increase, great. Dispose of this. And then enchant this with that. To increase our defense some more. Being immune to being petrified is an interesting thought, but I'm not sure if it helps that much. It probably kind of does, and I'm just not recognizing it. And then at some point we are just going to have to sell the amulets and crystals. So we are just trying to get a ton of mana to sell items for more gold. It almost feels, though, like we are going to end up in a city that just is very much more willing to pay a lot for items. Because certainly isn't asking a lot to spend 30,000 mana, even though we're getting twice as much mana, so we can sell things for 10% more gold when other upgrades definitely feel like they are much more valuable than that and should just be higher prioritized, particularly just getting more attack, getting more defense, since you are mostly engaging with the system during when you're fighting. Then the stats mostly only matter when you're fighting. Our crit is up to 4%, our luck is at 10. I'm not sure luck actually works particularly well. Maybe it's what's causing a lot of mana to drop, I don't know, but I wouldn't put a lot of faith in it. Our gold is very high now at 34,000 gold. So we are just making good progress. This could be the last map, or it could be the second to last map. I would assume it is a case that this is actually the second to last map, with the void being the last map. And unless the void is the actual midpoint of the game, and then the whole world gets infected by the Magnus, and there are just stronger enemies in the entire area, and we have to run all the way back to the beginning of the world, I imagine the void would just be the end of the game at that point. It's often frustrating when you have a game that you potentially can over-engage with, and it does feel like this might be one of those games. So I might be spending far too much time in the menu, switching out weapons, trying to upgrade things, trying to unlock skills, and there may just not be a game around it. Skyrim, despite it being one of the most beloved games out there, really runs into that problem quite a bit, where after you've done all the main story, there's not a lot to do, and in the middle of working towards the main story, there's a lot of temptation to just try and do some grinding to level up your character, get more skills that really don't matter, level up your crafting. Particularly in the last time I played Skyrim, I spent hours and hours and hours just crafting daggers to level up my crafting ability, to then sell the daggers to stores to get more gold for really no reason at all. I was spending gold to get materials to craft, to make items to sell, to then get more gold to get more materials to craft more things. And it just became this endless cycle of just grinding to level up my skills for very little reason. And there's a danger that that's what we're doing in this game also, is that we're leveling up our skills not in a natural way, but just because they're there. That being said, when we do fight a bad guy, a big boss, they tend to always push me to my limits. So perhaps the amount of damage the bosses are doing and the amount of health the bosses have is balanced on your skills, or are just very high by default. I definitely don't regret playing this game on its easiest normal mode. The extra 5 levels of difficulty seem crazy at this point. Anyways, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend to follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. And if you want to support me further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and gift me a game off my wishlist. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.